Hi, this is Ray. In this video, I'm going to tell you what this little gadget is and why you need to use it. And if you've ever wondered, can I extract honey that has not been capped over? Then this is the video for you because I'm going to answer your question today. Of course, these girls are going to be all riled up today. This side is maybe half capped. Sometimes the bees are not going to cap the honey. I'm about to go over the hives and show you a few of my honey frames that are not capped over. But before I go over there, before I put my veil on, I wanted to just kind of talk to you a little bit about honey and why bees sometimes don't cap over their honey. I'm in South Carolina. Our nectar flow runs from April through the first part of June, and it ends pretty abruptly. Now, I used to help my father actually raise bees in New England, and the nectar flow was totally different there. The nectar flow was much longer, much more intense, and we would get twice as much honey than I get here in South Carolina per hives, sometimes even 3 or 4 times more honey per hive than I'm able to get here in South Carolina. And when that nectar flow ends and there's no more nectar flow coming in, a lot of times I've discovered here in the South at least that the bees will stop capping the honey fully. And so it's not uncommon to have frames of honey that are half capped, 2/3 capped, sometimes only 25% capped. So the question is, can I harvest that honey? And are the bees going to come back and cap it? And my experience is that most of the time, the bees are not going to come back and cap that honey once that nectar flow ends. They're not going to expend the energy that it takes to make that wax and cap it over because they don't have any more nectar coming in. Now, you can maybe help with that if you start feeding sugar water right away in June when the nectar flow ends, but you know, most beekeepers don't want to start feeding right away because there's resources inside of the hive. And so that's where this little gadget comes in, a refractometer that will tell you what the moisture content is in your honey. Now, nectar, when it comes into the hive, it gets transferred from bee to bee, mouth to mouth, and every time that it gets transferred, it gets mixed with the enzymes in the bee's honey stomach called their crop. When it comes into the hive, it's mostly 70% moisture when it comes into the hive nectar. The bees put that nectar into a cell and then they'll fan over it. They'll actually blow bubbles in it to bring that moisture content down to 18%. And most of the time, bees will cap the honey over when it gets to be at around 18% or below. Now, if you're just using honey for your own purposes, then, you know, if it's 19 or 20% and you want to take the risk of it fermenting, or you know you're going to eat it right away or use it for cooking, then it doesn't really matter. But if you're going to sell honey, it really needs to be at 18% moisture content below. And just because the honey is not capped, it doesn't mean that it's not at 18% or below. I've had honey that has been uncapped inside of my hives, and I test it with my refractometer, and it's at 17%, even sometimes 16% moisture content. And a lot of times it's right in that range where I need it to be 17, 18, 18.5%, even though they haven't capped it over. And so as long as that moisture content is at 18% or below, even if it's not capped over, you can go ahead and extract that honey and it will be fine. But if it gets much above 19%, 20%, then there's a good chance that that honey can actually ferment over time. And so you wouldn't want to sell that honey. I just wanted to introduce the reality that sometimes the bees are not going to cap the honey. And at least in our area in the South, once that nectar flow ends, if I don't harvest the honey that I want to take for that year, then the bees are going to start to consume that honey. And so my only chance of getting honey is to make sure I take it off before it gets too deep into the summer. And so to know whether or not I can take it off, yes, I can use the capping as a barometer, but if the bees haven't capped all of the honey, which oftentimes they don't, then I can use this little gadget here to, and I'll put a link in the description, to find out what the moisture content is. And if I'm below 18%, then it's fine to go ahead and harvest. Let me go show you in the hive. All right, so I'm going to take a look and show you what I'm talking about here. I just made a video today about these screen top boards. You might want to watch that if you're beekeeping in the South. Of course, these girls are going to be all riled up today because I'm doing a video. Usually I don't need to use smoke on this hive. Let me see if I can find a good frame to show you what I'm talking about. This is a great frame to show you what I'm talking about. This side is maybe half capped. This side maybe is 2/3 capped. This is the kind of frame that I would test with a refractometer. I guarantee, well, I shouldn't say guarantee, but it's very likely the moisture content is less than 18% on this frame, and most of the frames in this super are about the same way, half capped. Some of them a third, some of them 2/3, but I don't have any frames inside of my hives that are fully capped. Right now, this is what I would say, test it with a refractometer. It's not a very expensive tool to get. I'll put a link in the description and see if the moisture content is at 18%, and if it is, go ahead and decap it, spin it out, and enjoy some honey. This is Ray from Honey Top Bees. I just want to encourage you, would you mind doing me a favor and like my channel and also subscribe to my channel? My channel is rather new, although I've been beekeeping for a while, and so I could use every like and subscribe I could get. So I appreciate you helping me out a little bit. And I'm going to continue to make videos to encourage you in your beekeeping journey.